My name is Jerry, and you ask a really tough question that a lot of people are asking: how to stop living from paycheck to paycheck. It's really tough. You maybe get your hours cut back or get laid off, and you've got about 4 or 5 days or 4 or 5 weeks or whatever of savings, and then it's gone, and you're in dire straits. That's how so many people have lost their homes over the last 4 or 5 years. It's a problem that's plaguing more than it's around 2/3 of the population lives paycheck to paycheck. Even people that are making six-figure incomes often live paycheck to paycheck because they haven't adjusted their thinking. So the first thing you have to do is really have a look at kind of inside and adjust the way that you think about money. Think about the ways that you're spending your money. Do little things like, for example, when you go to buy something and it's going to cost you $1. Well, it's not just costing you $1. It's costing you $1 plus all the tax you paid on the money. We'll say 25% tax you paid in your income tax. So that item that you bought, that candy bar, actually cost you $1.25. It's 25% more than you thought. So it's your earnings that are getting depleted on often purchases that we make, and I'm guilty of it too, of things that we don't really need. You don't really need a candy bar. It's really not going to serve you. You don't really need to stop for the $5 macchiato at Starbucks. Life will get by just without it. Or you can maybe just go for a simple cup of coffee for $1 rather than, so you sort of get my drift. There's a lot of ways that we can cut our costs during our day-to-day living that it's going to make a huge difference on our living paycheck to paycheck. I always recommend to pay yourself first. I like to pay myself 10% first. This is how I got out of that situation. First thing, I realized I had a problem. I also had a spending problem. I had a credit card problem. I had a problem. I didn't make enough money to pay off my debts, which was basically the biggest problem. And I had a bit of an attitude. I can afford that. I work hard. I can go do that. I can go for beer after work. I can do that. And I had to sit down and realize that the way I got into that situation was from just bad decisions on my behalf, and all my friends, right? But I can't, that wasn't their problem. It was mine. And so I started to make a couple of changes. Instead of going out for a beer, I'd have my buddies over for a beer. And as I started to explain to people that, I'm really kind of having to tighten things up. I'm going through a bit of a tight spot right now. So were they. Excuse me. It's not just you. It's pretty well most people are having the same kind of problems. They might have a really flash new car, but the bank owns it. And if they're not making the payment, the bank's going to take that away. And so what I did is I just cut the flash. And it was a kind of a blow to my ego. I'm not the guy anymore, right? And then all of a sudden, I was kind of bummed out at first. And all of a sudden, my friends are hanging out, and we're all doing the same sort of thing. We're all in the same boat. We're having just as much fun as we did before at a fraction of the cost. So this is good. We're doing the right things. So I started paying myself 10% first, and that eventually was going to go to a savings program. And it wasn't for about a year and a half where I could actually do that, but what it is, it helped to pay down my credit card debt. And I got my largest credit card debt, and I had 3 credit cards. The first thing it is, I paid my smallest one off first. They're all about the same percentage. And so I paid that smallest one off. So now I've got 2 credit cards in debt. That's great. And I'm a third of the way there. And although it was a lot less money, it felt really good. It felt like, this big burden had been lifted off my shoulders. And so then I got a different credit card that was able to amalgamate the 2 credit cards with a much lower percentage. So now the money I'm putting towards paying off the debt is actually doing that, not just going to interest so they can buy new Caddies and Hummers and stuff. And so that was really the catalyst that got me going on to the next thing. I cut out things like Cablevision. I don't need to watch TV. I've got videos. I can stream online. I have internet. I need internet for my business. And I think, everybody has internet at home. You can stream movies. You go to Netflix. You can go to Hulu. There's all sorts of, avenues there for some entertainment. And I started doing less expensive things instead of like going out to a nightclub. We get together with people and we go down to the beach and, have a bonfire. People pull out guitars. And I went down and, just down the inner, where we live in Vancouver Island, there's a beautiful inner harbor. And we go down there and there's often musicians down there paying. It might be buskers or whatever. And you can catch live music for free almost anywhere. And the city has all sorts of free music events, and started checking those out. And man, there's a whole lot of people there doing the same thing. So, we had a lot of like-minded souls together. So it was really good. So really started to have some fun. We cut our expenses down. The 10% was going to pay down the Visa bill. With the lower interest rate, everything started getting paid down faster. And it was like a snowball. At first, it felt like nothing was happening. And all of a sudden, things are getting paid off. I'm getting caught up on things. And then the big day happened. I got everything paid off. So what did I do? Go out and celebrate in a fancy dinner? No, I cut up my credit cards. I kept one, and I canceled them. So you have to cancel them. So I canceled them, but I kept one. I put it into my sock drawer, and I never carried it with me. So if I needed it, I'd have to go home and pick it up. And that way I'd think about the purchase. Say I needed to get a new pair of shades or something. And, oh man, these are just beautiful sunglasses. I got to have these. They're Oakley's, man, So by the time I got home and thought about it, you know what? I don't really need another pair of sunglasses. So I wouldn't make the purchase. And I still had my credit card for when I needed it for, fuel or going, for traveling and that sort of thing, booking a hotel. And it really made a huge difference. But I was going to get back into the same situation if I didn't change the number one thing, which was my income. I didn't make enough money to live the lifestyle that I wanted. And scraping by for 2 years, getting everything paid off, although it wasn't too bad, it kind of sucked a little bit. And I wanted to be able to afford to do more things, so I got another stream of income. Since then, I've taken on a couple other streams of income, and I'm doing very well financially now. The latest stream of income we have is probably the coolest I've ever seen. It's the most fun, and I can see it being bigger than everything else put together. If you'd like to have a look at what we're doing, just put your email and your name down, your best email, and we'll send you a video. It's about 45 minutes long. It's really good information. And if it's something that tickles you, fantastic. If it doesn't, hey, you got to watch entertainment for 45 minutes for free. But again, just have a look at it. It's go to workwithjerry.com. That's workwithgerry.com, and have a look at it. And if you're like me, it could really be a real game changer. All right. I wish you all the best luck in getting out of your financial situation. And living paycheck to paycheck is a tough grind. And it's just nice to get off that treadmill. And I hope I can help you get off that treadmill as well. Have a great day. Cheers.